The massive screens in the United Earth Council chamber showed hundreds of unknown objects moving toward the solar system. Admiral James Walker stood before the gathered leaders, his gray uniform perfectly pressed, his face calm despite the weight of the moment. The room was silent except for the soft hum of air conditioning and the occasional nervous shuffle of papers. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice steady and clear, "what you're seeing is not a new discovery. We've been tracking the Dominion fleet for the past 3 months." He paused, letting the information sink in. "And we've known about their existence for the past 25 years. Whispers filled the room. A council member from India stood up, her face showing both anger and fear. 25 years. Why are we only hearing about this now?" Walker pressed a button on his remote, and the screen changed to show detailed scans of alien ships, communication patterns, and technical specifications. "Because, council member, we needed those years to prepare. Every nation represented in this room has been part of this preparation, even if most of you didn't know it." He walked to the center of the chamber, his footsteps echoing. "The ships you see approaching belong to a civilization that calls themselves the Dominion. They're not here to destroy us. At least, not as their first choice. They're here to test us, to see if we're worthy of joining their galactic community." Another council member, this one from Brazil, leaned forward. "And what happens if they find us unworthy?" Walker's face hardened. "Then they eliminate us. They've done it before. We've found evidence of at least 3 civilizations they deemed inadequate." The room erupted in shocked conversations. Walker waited patiently for order to return. When it did, he continued, showing new images on the screen. Strange ruins on distant planets, remnants of civilizations that no longer existed. "But we're not those other civilizations," he said firmly. "For 25 years, we've been intercepting their communications, studying their technology, and preparing our response. The Dominion believes they're about to evaluate an ignorant species that just discovered spaceflight. Instead, they're going to meet a humanity that's been getting ready for them for a generation." He showed them more images, secret facilities on the moon, advanced weapons systems, and defensive technologies that seemed far beyond current human capabilities. "Everything you thought you knew about our space program was a cover. Those failed satellite launches, testing our reverse-engineered alien tech, the International Lunar Research Station, a front for our defense system construction." A younger council member from Canada stood up. "The public will panic when they learn about this. The stock markets will crash. There will be chaos." Walker smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. "Actually, we have evidence suggesting the opposite. Humans are remarkably adaptable when faced with clear external challenges. Our psychologists predict that having proof we're not alone, and that we're ready for this encounter, will unite humanity like never before." He pressed another button, and the screen showed a detailed analysis of human response scenarios. "We've run thousands of simulations. Yes, there will be some panic. But when people learn that we've been preparing, that we have a real chance of standing up to these aliens, the fear will turn to determination." The council president, an older man from Kenya, stood up slowly. "You seem very confident, Admiral. What makes you so sure we can face a civilization capable of interstellar travel?" Walker's expression became intense. "Because we have something they don't expect. The Dominion has encountered many species, but they all have evolved toward specialization. Humans, we're adaptable. We can learn, change, and most importantly, we can take others' ideas and make them better." He showed one final image, a complex diagram of neural interfaces and technological systems. "Their biggest mistake was letting us intercept their transmissions. For 25 years, we've been learning from their successes and failures across the galaxy. We've taken their technology and improved it in ways they never imagined. They think they're coming to judge us, but we're ready to show them that humanity won't just pass their test, we're going to rewrite it." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just facing its first contact with alien life. It was about to show the galaxy that Earth wouldn't bow to anyone's demands. They had been preparing for this moment for 25 years, and now it was time to show the Dominion that they had greatly underestimated the human race. Deep beneath the moon's gray surface, Dr. Marie Thompson walked through the gleaming metal corridors of Project Aegis. Her footsteps echoed against the walls as she led Admiral Walker and 3 council members through humanity's greatest secret. The visitors looked around with wide eyes, trying to process the scale of what they were seeing. Most of the public thinks we're mining helium-3 up here, Marie said, stopping at a massive window overlooking an enormous chamber. Below them, hundreds of workers moved around strange-looking machines that pulsed with blue light. That's just what we wanted them to think. This is the real reason we've been on the moon for the last 15 years. She pressed her hand against a scanner, and a holographic display appeared in front of them. It showed the entire solar system, with thousands of tiny dots scattered throughout. Each of those dots is one of our sensors. We've been listening to alien communications for decades, learning their languages, understanding their technology, and preparing our defenses. One of the council members, an older man wearing a neat business suit, shook his head in disbelief. How did we build all this without anyone knowing? Marie smiled. We hid it in plain sight. Every space mission, every satellite launch, every meteor study. They all served 2 purposes. The public got their scientific data, and we got to build our defensive network piece by piece. She led them through another door, into a room filled with strange crystal-like structures that hummed with energy. This is the heart of Project Aegis, she explained, walking between the crystals. We reversed engineered it from fragments of alien technology we found in the Arctic. But we didn't just copy their work, we improved it. Humans have a unique way of thinking about problems, of connecting ideas that other species keep separate. Admiral Walker stepped forward. Show them the interface. Marie nodded and touched one of the crystals. The air filled with complex patterns of light, forming a 3-dimensional map of defensive systems spread throughout the solar system. The aliens think in straight lines, in predictable patterns. We think in chaos, in possibilities. That's why we were able to take their neural interface technology and turn it into something they've never seen before. She gestured to a nearby testing chamber, where a young operator sat in what looked like a simple chair. As they watched, his thoughts controlled dozens of defense satellites at once, moving them in complex patterns that would have taken a full alien crew to manage. One human mind can do the work of an entire alien ship's crew. We're not just ready for them, we're ahead of them. The council members watched in amazement as Marie showed them more of the facility. Hidden hangars held ships built with a mixture of human innovation and alien technology. Testing ranges demonstrated weapons that could disable alien vessels without destroying them. Everything spoke of careful planning and preparation. But our greatest advantage isn't our technology, Marie said, leading them to her main laboratory. It's our understanding of their psychology. She showed them years of intercepted communications, carefully analyzed and categorized. The Dominion has a pattern. They arrive, they test, and they either uplift or destroy. They've done it so many times that they've become predictable. And predictability is a weakness we can use. She brought up more data, showing how Earth had carefully leaked certain information, creating a very specific picture of human civilization. They think they're coming to evaluate a young, primitive species that just achieved spaceflight. Instead, they're walking into a carefully prepared welcome party. The youngest council member looked worried. What if they detect all this before we're ready? Marie's smile grew wider. That's the beautiful part. They already have. We've let them catch glimpses of unusual energy readings, strange signals, and unexplained technology. But they're so convinced of their superiority that they've dismissed it all as measurement errors or natural phenomena. They can't imagine that a primitive species could have advanced this far without them noticing. She led them to a final room, where a massive screen showed the approaching Dominion fleet. They're coming to judge us, to decide if we deserve a place in their galactic community. But we've spent 25 years preparing for this moment. We don't need their permission to join the galactic community. We're going to earn our place on our own terms." The council members stood in silence, watching the alien ships approach. In just a few days, the Dominion would arrive, expecting to find a civilization nervously awaiting judgment. Instead, they would find a humanity that had been waiting for them, ready to show the galaxy that Earth wasn't just another species to be tested. It was a force to be reckoned with. The massive alien ship hung in orbit above Earth, its dark metal surface reflecting the sun's light. In the meeting room of the International Space Station's new diplomatic module, Thomas Reed adjusted his plain blue tie and waited calmly. 25 years of preparation had led to this moment. The air shimmered, and 3 tall figures appeared. The aliens stood nearly 8 feet tall, their bodies covered in ceremonial armor that shifted colors like oil on water. High Commander Excel stood in front, his 4 eyes blinking in the station's bright light. "We come to evaluate humanity's worthiness," Cell said through a translator device. "Your species has reached a crucial point in its development. We will determine if you deserve uplift into the galactic community, or if your development must be ended." Thomas smiled politely and spoke in perfect Dominion language, his words carefully practiced for years. "Welcome to Earth space, High Commander. We've been expecting you." The aliens froze, their color-shifting armor rippled with surprise. Zell's upper eyes narrowed. "You speak our language. How is this possible?" "We're full of surprises," Thomas said, still smiling. He pressed a button, and the room's walls transformed into screens showing detailed star maps. Red dots marked dozens of worlds. "These are the worlds your ships visited in the past 50 years. These blue markers show the civilizations you uplifted. And these black ones," he paused meaningfully, "well, those are the ones you decided weren't worthy." Behind the diplomatic module, hidden by Earth's moon, Admiral Walker watched the meeting through secure cameras. His fleet waited silently, weapons ready but powered down to avoid detection. "Status report," he whispered into his communicator. "All Aegis systems are green," Dr. Thompson's voice came back. "Defense grid is ready but dormant. They won't see anything unless they look very, very carefully." Back in the diplomatic module, Cell had regained his composure. "You seem well informed. For a species that has barely reached its moon, perhaps you will prove worthy after all. Shall we begin the assessment?" Thomas nodded to his human teammates, who brought out simple folders filled with paper. "Actually, we've prepared some information for you. A summary of human achievements, capabilities, and potential." He smiled again. "We thought it might save time." The aliens looked at the papers with confusion. They were used to species that either cowered in fear or showed off their best technology. This calm preparation was something new. "You don't seem surprised by our arrival," Cell said carefully. "Or afraid. Why should we be?" Thomas opened one of the folders. "Your species follows very clear patterns. You visit a world, test its people, and make your choice. We've had decades to study these patterns. The real question is," he looked directly at Cell, "are you ready to meet a species that's been preparing for this meeting since before you even knew we existed?" The alien commander's armor shifted to a deep purple color, a sign of confusion that Thomas recognized from years of studying Dominion cultural signals. Outside the station, hidden sensors detected energy spikes from the alien ship as they began deep scans of Earth. Thomas knew exactly what they would find, exactly what humanity wanted them to find. Just enough hidden technology to make them nervous, but not enough to provoke an attack. It was a careful balance that had been planned for years. "Let me tell you about humanity," Thomas said, his voice confident and calm. "We're not like the other species you've tested. We don't want your technology. We've developed our own. We don't need your guidance. We've charted our own path. What we want," he leaned forward slightly, "is to show you that your way of judging civilizations might need some updating." Zell's translator crackled as he spoke sharply. "You dare to question the Dominion's methods? Methods that have guided the galaxy's development for 10,000 years. Question them. Thomas smiled. No, High Commander. We're going to change them. Humanity doesn't submit to tests. We overcome challenges. And right now, you face a choice. You can try to test us according to your old rules, or you can recognize that something new has entered the galaxy. The aliens conferred among themselves in quick, sharp sounds. Their armor colors shifted rapidly through patterns that showed anxiety, anger, and, most importantly, uncertainty. Everything was going exactly as planned. In his hidden fleet, Admiral Walker watched the meeting with satisfaction. They're starting to understand, he whispered to his crew. They thought they were coming to judge us. Instead, they're about to learn that humanity has been judging them all along. Dr. Marie Thompson stood in the Aegis Control Center, watching dozens of screens showing brainwave patterns. Each pattern belonged to a different human operator connected to the defense system. The aliens had demanded a demonstration of Earth's technology, and they were about to get one they wouldn't forget. Are you sure about this? Admiral Walker asked, standing beside her. Above them, through the moon base's thick windows, Earth hung like a blue jewel in the black sky. We've tested it thousands of times, Marie said, touching her tablet to start the sequence. The aliens evolved to be perfect at specific tasks. Humans, we stayed messy, adaptable. That's our strength. She pressed a final button. And the room's lights dimmed. In orbit around Mars, hidden sensors detected the approaching Dominion ships. High Commander Excel had brought 3 of their most advanced vessels to test Earth's capabilities. They expected to find primitive weapons and simple shields. Instead, they found nothing at all. Begin the demonstration, Marie said into her communicator. In their control pods, 50 human operators closed their eyes. Their minds merged with the Aegis system, becoming one with the machines in a way the aliens had never imagined possible. Suddenly, defense platforms appeared all around the Dominion ships, emerging from perfectly maintained stealth fields. The alien sensors hadn't detected them because humans had discovered something the Dominion had missed, a way to hide energy signatures in the natural background radiation of space. On the main alien ship, alarms began to sound. Cell watched in shock as human technology appeared from nowhere, surrounding his vessels. His crew scrambled to raise shields, but they were too slow. Before they could react, each alien ship found itself inside a complex web of energy fields. Impossible. Cell's voice crackled through the communication system. Our sensors detect only 50 humans operating these systems. Such a defense grid would require at least 500 crew members. Marie smiled and opened a channel to the alien commander. That's because you think like the Dominion. Each of your crew members specializes in one task, doing it perfectly. But humans. She showed him live feeds of the operators, their minds working together through the neural network. We never specialized. We stayed adaptable. One human mind can handle dozens of different tasks at once, switching between them instantly. In their ships, the alien crew watched in amazement as the human defense platforms moved in perfect coordination. Their sensors showed impossible things, weapon systems that combined technologies that should never work together, shields that operated on principles the Dominion had never considered. You see, High Commander, Marie continued, while you were busy perfecting one way of doing things, humans kept trying new ways. We took basic concepts and combined them in ways your specialists never imagined. We didn't just copy your technology, we reinvented it. To prove her point, she had the operators demonstrate their capabilities. The defense platforms split into smaller units, combined into larger ones, changed their energy signatures, and moved in patterns that made the aliens' targeting systems useless. All of it controlled by human minds working together through the neural network. Our scientists found something interesting in your captured data, Marie explained, showing detailed scans on the alien ship screens. Your brains evolved for perfect, specialized tasks, but human brains, they're chaotic, full of connections that shouldn't work but do. When we connected our minds to machines, We didn't just control them, we changed how they worked. Admiral Walker stepped forward. 25 years ago, we found a piece of your neural interface technology in a crashed scout ship. Your people could use it to control one system at a time. We rebuilt it, improved it, and discovered that human minds could control dozens of systems at once. That's when we knew we could stand against you. The aliens watched as their sensors showed more and more human technology appearing around them. Platforms that combined energy shields with kinetic barriers in ways their scientists had called impossible. Weapons that used the chaos of human thought patterns to create unpredictable attack sequences. "This is just a small demonstration," Marie said calmly. "A fraction of what we can do. You came to test us, to see if we deserved a place among the stars. But we've spent 25 years testing ourselves, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. We didn't wait for your permission to advance. We did it our own way." In the control room, the human operators worked in perfect silence, their minds linked through the Aegis system. They weren't just controlling machines. They were showing the galaxy that humanity had found its own path to the stars. The streets of every major city on Earth were packed with people watching giant screens. High Commander Excel's face looked down at them all, his 4 eyes blinking as he began the Dominion's formal assessment of humanity. But the humans weren't afraid. They were ready. "We have studied your cities, your technology, your ways of thinking." Zell's voice boomed across the squares and gathering places. "We have found things we never expected to see." In New York, London, Tokyo, and thousands of other cities, people stood together, watching calmly. The alien ships hovering in the sky didn't scare them anymore. 25 years of careful preparation had made this moment feel more like destiny than threat. "Your species breaks patterns we thought were universal," Cell continued. "When we test a world, we usually find either warriors or thinkers, builders or destroyers. Your people." He paused, his armor shifting colors rapidly. "You refuse to be just one thing." Thomas Reed stood in the United Nations building, watching both the crowds outside and the alien transmission. "Show them the unity test," he said into his communicator. "Show them what humans do when we work together." Around the world, at exactly the same moment, millions of people held up their phones. Each screen lit up with a different color, creating vast patterns that could be seen from space. The alien ship's sensors recorded the spontaneous cooperation of an entire species, working together without central control. "Impossible," one of Cell's advisors said, the translator barely keeping up with his shocked words. "No species can coordinate on this scale without strict hierarchical control." But humans were doing exactly that. In every city, people who had never met were creating complex patterns together. Factory workers stood next to office managers. Teachers joined hands with their students. Old arguments about politics and borders seemed small compared to this moment of human unity. "Your assessment protocols are flawed," Thomas said, his voice carried to every alien ship. "You look for species that fit your patterns, but humans, we make our own patterns." To prove his point, he signaled the next demonstration. In deserts, oceans, and Arctic wastes, hidden human facilities activated. Each one showed a different way humans had adapted alien technology. Solar farms that worked at night, ocean platforms that generated energy from waves in ways the aliens had never imagined, Arctic stations that turned ice into computing crystals. "Look at your readings," Thomas continued. "Each of these facilities breaks one of your rules about how technology should work. You say power systems can't combine matter and energy conversion. We found a way. You say computational crystals only grow in zero gravity. We grow them under polar ice." High Commander Cell's armor had turned a deep blue, a color that showed deep thought in his species. "You took our basic principles and changed them, made them work in ways we thought impossible." "That's what humans do," Thomas said proudly. "We adapt. We change. We take ideas and make them our own. Your people spent 10,000 years perfecting one way of doing things. We spent our history trying every way we could imagine. The alien sensors kept finding more surprises. Hidden cities under the oceans. Farms that grew food using techniques that combined Earth biology with alien principles. Power plants that ran on theories the Dominion had abandoned centuries ago as too inefficient. Your assessment was supposed to last 3 days, Cell said slowly. But you've shown us more in 3 hours than most species show in 3 years. Thomas smiled. Because we're not trying to pass your test, High Commander. We're showing you why the test itself needs to change. Humanity doesn't want to be uplifted into your galactic community. We want to join it as equals, bringing our own ideas, our own ways of thinking. The light of understanding finally showed in Cell's 4 eyes. His species had spent millennia believing they had found the perfect way to guide developing civilizations, but now they faced something new. A species that had guided itself, that had taken the Dominion's own technology and transformed it through human creativity and determination. In the streets, the patterns of lights changed again. Now they showed stars and galaxies, maps of space that humans dreamed of exploring. Not as students of the Dominion, but as innovators ready to share their unique way of thinking with the universe. Admiral Walker stood on the bridge of his flagship, hidden behind Mars, watching the tactical displays. The time had come for humanity's biggest reveal. With a nod to his communications officer, he opened a channel to both the Dominion fleet and every screen on Earth. High Commander Xel, he said calmly, before you make your final decision about Earth, there's something else you need to see. He pressed a button on his chair, and new data began flowing to the alien ships. The information showed thousands of small objects scattered throughout the galaxy. Each one was a self-replicating beacon, secretly launched by Earth over the past decade. The alien sensors confirmed they were real, hidden in asteroid belts, gas clouds, and other places their ships rarely scanned. What is this? Cell demanded, his armor turning a bright red color that showed alarm. These devices, they're everywhere in our territory. Each beacon, Walker explained, contains a complete record of how humanity prepared for your arrival. All our research, all our discoveries, all our ways of adapting your technology. He let that sink in for a moment. And each one is programmed to activate and broadcast that information to every developing civilization in its range if Earth is attacked. The alien command ship erupted in frantic activity. Their sensors confirmed the truth. Humanity had already spread their knowledge far beyond Earth. More scans showed beacons that were slowly building copies of themselves using material from asteroids and space debris, multiplying their numbers each year. Thomas Reed stepped forward in the UN chamber. You see, High Commander, we didn't just prepare to defend Earth. We made sure that every species you plan to test in the future will know exactly how we resisted your control. They'll have our blueprints, our innovations, our methods of adapting your technology. Dr. Thompson's voice joined in from the lunar base. And thanks to human creativity, each beacon also contains improvements we made to your designs. Any species that finds one will learn things even the Dominion doesn't know yet. The aliens' tactical displays lit up as they detected more and more beacons. They were hidden in places the Dominion had never thought to look, using stealth technology that combined human and alien principles in new ways. Some had been in place for years, quietly watching and waiting. If you attack Earth, Walker continued, every one of these beacons will activate. Your perfect system of testing and controlling developing civilizations will collapse. Future species won't wait to be judged. They'll be ready for you, just like we were. Zell's 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he processed this threat. You would share advanced technology with primitive species. Do you know how dangerous that could be? We're sharing knowledge, Thomas corrected him. The choice of how to use it belongs to each species, just like it belonged to us. That's something your Dominion never understood. True growth comes from making your own choices, not following someone else's rules. The human fleet emerged from behind Mars, showing itself for the first time. But it wasn't an aggressive move. The ships took formation around Earth in a defensive pattern, their weapons powered down but ready. So here's our deal. Walker said firmly. Earth joins the galactic community as an equal, not as a student, not as a subordinate, but as a civilization that earned its place through innovation and preparation. In return, our beacons stay quiet, preserving your system. For now. He paused, letting the implications sink in. But if you attack us, if you try to destroy Earth like you destroyed other worlds that didn't fit your patterns, then every developing civilization in the galaxy learns how to resist you. Your choice, High Commander. In cities across Earth, people watched their screens in proud silence. This wasn't just a defense of their world. It was humanity showing the galaxy a new way forward. They had turned the Dominion's own methods against them, using human creativity and determination to change the rules of the game. The alien ships hung motionless in space as Cell considered the situation. For the first time in the Dominion's long history, they faced a species that hadn't just survived their test. They had completely changed the nature of the assessment itself. High Commander Cell stood before the combined Earth Council 3 days later. The massive United Nations Hall was packed with representatives from every nation, and billions watched on screens around the world. The alien leader's armor had shifted to a deep gold color, a sign of formal ceremony in Dominion culture. In 10,000 years, Cell began, his translator converting his words into every human language. No species has ever forced the Dominion to change its ways. He paused, looking around the hall. Until now. Behind him, through the giant windows, people could see the Dominion ships now floating peacefully alongside human vessels. The two fleets had begun sharing technology, but not in the way the aliens usually did. This time, both sides were learning from each other. Humanity will join the galactic community, Cell announced, not as a tested and uplifted species, but as equals. Your beacons may remain in place, as a reminder that the old ways of the Dominion must change. Admiral Walker and Thomas Reed sat in the front row, watching as 25 years of planning reached its final moment. Dr. Thompson stood nearby, her tablet showing live feeds from the Aegis system as it adapted to work with alien technology in new ways. But we have a request, Cell continued. The Dominion has encountered a problem we cannot solve. On the edges of our space, we have found dangers that our specialized ways of thinking cannot overcome. We ask that humanity join us in facing these challenges. The Earth Council members looked at each other. This was something they hadn't expected. The mighty Dominion asking for help. Thomas stood up, straightening his simple blue tie. Tell us about these challenges, he said. The aliens brought up images of strange phenomena in deep space. Things that didn't follow any known rules of science or nature. Our specialists have failed to understand these events, Cell explained. We need minds that can think in new ways, minds that can adapt and see patterns we cannot see. Dr. Thompson studied the images with growing excitement. You're right, she said. These problems need human creativity. We can combine your advanced technology with our way of thinking about the impossible. The council chamber burst into discussion. This was more than just Earth surviving the Dominion's test. This was humanity being asked to help solve problems that had stumped an advanced civilization for centuries. Admiral Walker stepped forward. We accept on one condition. The Dominion must help us create a new system for meeting developing civilizations. No more tests, no more destroying worlds that don't fit your patterns. Instead, we create a way to welcome new species that celebrates their unique qualities. Cell's armor shifted through several colors before settling on a bright silver. A color humans had never seen before. Agreed, he said. The beacons you scattered through space will serve a new purpose. Instead of warning other species about us, they will invite them to join us as equals. The hall erupted in cheers. On screens around the world, people celebrated. Humanity had not just survived. They had changed the course of galactic history. In orbit, human and alien ships began working together. The Aegis system linked with Dominion technology, creating new possibilities neither side had imagined before. Human operators found they could work with alien crews in ways that combined the best of both species. 25 years ago, Thomas said to the gathered crowd, "We learned we weren't alone in the universe. We could have hidden in fear. We could have prepared for war. Instead, we chose to get ready to show the galaxy a better way." Dr. Thompson activated a new display, showing the modified beacons now spreading a different message through space. To any civilizations who find these, she read, "Know that the galaxy is changing. Your unique ways of thinking, your special abilities, your different approaches to problems. These are not things to be tested and judged. They are gifts to be shared." As the sun set over New York, the first joint human-alien crews prepared to explore deep space together. In laboratories around Earth, scientists from both species began working on the mysterious phenomena from the galaxy's edge. The Dominion had gained new ways of thinking, and humanity had gained access to the stars. High Commander Excel looked out at the Earth through the UN's windows. "We came to test humanity's worth," he said quietly. "Instead, humanity tested us and showed us a better path forward. The galaxy will never be the same."